My name is Alex, I'm 22, I live in Chicago, and I work in IT. Just an ordinary guy, nothing special. Home, work, occasional meetups with friends. I never really thought about serious relationships, and I didn't have much time for them anyway. But one Saturday evening, while lying on the couch, I decided to download Tinder. Why not? As I was swiping through profiles, I came across Lana. Long dark hair, brown eyes, a subtle mysterious smile. Her bio was minimal. I love night walks and good movies. Simplicity and mystery, the perfect combination. I swiped right, not expecting much, but a couple of hours later, I got the notification. It's a match. We started chatting, and it turned out that Lana wasn't just beautiful, but also witty, sarcastic, and had the same taste in movies and music as I did. She lived in a nearby neighborhood, studied design, loved old Tarantino films, and could talk about 90s music for hours. A few days later, I suggested we meet. We walked around the city at night, talking nonstop as if we had known each other forever. She laughed at my jokes, teased me, and her ease and authenticity made her even more attractive. I felt incredibly comfortable with her. We started dating. Every evening was spent together. Cafes, movies, amusement parks, late-night conversations on her rooftop until sunrise. I loved that Lana didn't try to be someone she wasn't. She could be incredibly sweet, yet she could also challenge my ridiculous theories about the ending of Fight Club. She never talked much about her past, but I didn't press her. The present was enough for me. After a month, I realized I was in love, but everything changed in an instant. We were at an amusement park, and Lana insisted we go on the Shivers. Adrenaline loop. A massive ride that lifted you upside down before plunging straight down. We secured our seats, fastened our belts, and the ride slowly climbed upward. I looked at Lana. She was laughing, her hair blowing in the wind. And then, as we flipped upside down, something flew off her head. A wig. I froze. The wind carried it down, and Lana immediately clutched her head, burying her face in her hands. My heart pounded in my chest. This had to be a joke. I looked at her, at him, at... Who? Lana trembled, gripping the safety belt. I was speechless. When the ride stopped, she bolted from her seat and ran. I was in shock, but my legs carried me after her. "Lana, stop!" I shouted, but she kept running. I caught up with her in a secluded corner behind the attraction. She was breathing heavily, her shoulders shaking. "Explain," I exhaled. She slowly lifted her head, and I saw the fear in her eyes. "Alex!" Her voice wavered. "Who are you?" I barely recognized my own voice. She looked away, clenched her fists, and finally said, "You know me." I frowned. "No? How? From where?" My mind was blank. "What are you talking about?" I stepped closer. She looked into my eyes and said the words that made my blood run cold. "I'm Max." Something inside me shattered. Maximum. My childhood. My best friend. We had been inseparable until our teenage years pulled us in different directions. I got into sports and video games. He got into books and art. We became strangers. The last time I saw him was 3 years ago. And now, he stood before me. As Lana. As the girl I had been dating. The world spun. I grabbed my head. "No! This is impossible! Max! Lana! What?" I was gasping for air. "Alex, please listen." She took a step toward me, but I backed away. "You lied to me!" My voice was filled with anger and pain. I never thought it would go this far. I just wanted to be myself. Her voice was desperate. "Yourself? You've been playing with me for a month." It felt like the air was being sucked out of my lungs. "No, everything that happened between us, it was real," she shouted. I couldn't process it, couldn't understand. My heart pounded like it wanted to escape my chest. I need to leave." I turned and walked away, not even knowing where I was going. She didn't chase after me. My mind was a whirlwind of memories. Maximum, Lana, our childhood, our conversations, our jokes, our kisses, everything. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't get it out of my head. The next morning, a message arrived. If you want to talk, I'll be at our spot. Our spot. The old cafe we used to go to after school. I didn't know why, but I went. When I walked in, she was already there. She looked exhausted. 2 coffees sat on the table. I sat down. We were silent for a minute. Then she started talking. She told me everything. How she had felt out of place in her body since childhood. How she couldn't tell me. How she had left to finally become who she was meant to be. How she found me on Tinder and couldn't resist. You were the only person I never wanted to lose, she whispered. I looked into her eyes and saw pain. But did I see Lana or Max? I don't know what to do with this, I admitted. She nodded. Neither do I. We sat in silence. The city buzzed outside. Everything was different. Everything was broken. But one thing was certain. This was still the same person I had shared my childhood with. What now? I didn't know. But I knew I had to find an answer. I sat across from her. Him? And still couldn't fully grasp it. My mind kept replaying memories. Max, our childhood, our adventures. Lana, our dates, our deep conversations. It was all colliding, tearing itself apart. I understand if you don't want to see me again, Lana said quietly, looking away. I stared at her, torn in two. A part of me wanted to walk away, pretend none of this had happened. Another part felt that what we had was too real to just erase. I don't know how to deal with this, I finally admitted. She gave a weak smile. Neither do I. We sat in silence for a few minutes, and then something happened that shattered my reality completely. The cafe door opened and someone walked in. Maximum. But that was impossible. I looked at him. Short dark hair, the same brown eyes, but Max. The real Max. I froze, my blood turning to ice. I slowly turned to Lana. She was frozen too, her face pale. What the hell? I barely spoke. The guy at the door frowned. Alex! His voice was lower than I remembered, but still familiar. Max! I gasped. I shoved my chair back, unable to comprehend what was happening. I turned to Lana, but she was silent, her hands shaking. What is going on? My voice shook. Max frowned. I thought you moved away. You disappeared 3 years ago. I could barely breathe. Yeah, I left. But now I'm back. I turned back to Lana. Then, who are you? She didn't answer. Then softly she whispered, I am not Max. My mind exploded. Then who the hell are you? She took a deep breath and looked at me. I'm his twin. The room spun. You're lying. I'm not. Her voice was quiet but firm. Our parents separated us when we were kids. They kept Max and sent me away. I was suffocating. Then why didn't you tell me? Because you only knew Max. If I had told you the truth on Tinder, you would have never met me. I turned to Max. He looked just as confused. Dude, what the hell are you talking about? That you have a brother. Max frowned, then laughed. What brother? My chest tightened. What? I'm an only child. I have no brother. I turned to Lana. She went pale. No, that's impossible. Her voice cracked. Lana! I could barely breathe. No, they lied to me. She clutched her head. Max watched us, completely lost. Who is this girl, Alex? I opened my mouth but had no answer. Lena suddenly ran out of the cafe. Lana! I ran after her, but she disappeared into the crowd. I stood there, stunned. Max walked up beside me, frowning. Dude, seriously, who was that? I swallowed hard. I don't know. And that was the scariest part.